Welcome to Pound for Pound, the MMA podcast. And now, coming to the mic, your host, Jalen Walker.
Test. Hello, everybody. How's everyone doing? That intro music was brought to you by Rashad Sylvester. His new album is out. Let It Play on Spotify. Just go look that up. Thanks for Rashad. Thanks for letting us use that. This album sounds great, bro. All right. Welcome to Pound for Pound. I'm your host, Jalen Walker. Oh, man. UFC 252 results. We got tonight, Edgar versus Munoz. But first, let's just take it back a notch. Let's go ahead and get into UFC Contender Series, Week 3. Man, some good fights. I forgot how to pronounce their name, but Louis Kos and Orion Kos, two brothers, fought the same night. Both got contracts last night. It's pretty awesome. Super cool. The older brother, he had a KO with a left hook on the ground and pound to Victor Reina. And I think that was in first round. Yeah, first round, 1 minute and 12 seconds. Looked really nasty. That was the main event. Co-main event was Cheyenne Buys versus Hillary Rose. Great fight. Cheyenne won by 3-round unanimous decision. But man, that was a good fight. That was a really good fight. And then Orion Kos, I think that's how you pronounce their last name. Apologize if that's wrong. The younger brother of the two, he beat Mac Dixon in a KO in the third round. Yeah, third round, 4 minutes and 42 seconds. Knocked them out, man. They were both hyped for them both winning. But yeah, that was just two brothers. I mean, come on. They both had knockouts in the same night. Let's go. Josh Parisian versus Chad Johnson. I know it's funny saying Chad Johnson's name. But Josh Parisian, he had that KO, punches from the mount in round 1 at 3 minutes and 43 seconds to beat Chad Johnson. And then the opening fight was Kenny Cross versus Kevin Sliler. Kenny Cross won by unanimous decision in 3 rounds. But yeah, nice little lineup last Tuesday. The fights were great. I know 3 people. I know both the brothers got a contract, and Cheyenne Buys, I think. And I think Josh Parisian. Yeah, Josh Parisian did. Because Josh Parisian, this is his second time on the Contender Series. He fought last year, and then he went to the Ultimate Fighter. No, was it last year? I think it was last year. And then he went to the Ultimate Fighter, and then it didn't work out for him. But he's back. Dana loves him. He's a nasty puncher, and took him out, took Chad Johnson out. But yeah, like I said, great fights. All around a great evening. But let's go ahead and move on. Yeah, there's nothing else for that. There's nothing else spectacular that really happened except for the two brothers, but great fights. All right, now on to some UFC news. First off, I don't even want to get into all the tweets. I don't even want to do any of that for this subject because it's going, it's all over the place. But ladies and gentlemen, Jon Jones has vacated the light heavyweight championship, or champion belt, and now he's going to heavyweight. Jon Jones has moved his way up to heavyweight. What he's going to be ranked at, we're not sure yet. What's going to happen in that situation? He's not in the rankings yet. Let's make sure. Let's see if something wild's already happened. If they put him in the rankings, I think they're going to wait till next week. But let's see. Yeah, he's not in there yet. But yeah, so light heavyweight title. I mean, it has to be Thiago Santos and Dominic Reeves. Thiago Santos lost to Jon Jones, and then Dominic Reyes just lost to Jon Jones. But those are 2 good fights, except for the Thiago Santos fight. Jones just kept his distance. But that Dominic Reyes fight, Jones knew he could have gotten knocked out. And people are saying, like, Dominic Reyes is the reason Jon Jones is leaving. No. Jon Jones wants to go to heavyweight and get the heavyweight championship so Daniel Cormier can stop holding that over his head that he is the 2-time division champion. Because technically, DC didn't lose that fight. Jones got illegal substances in his system, and then he got disqualified, and then they gave the title to DC, and then DC beat Stipe, and then he had both titles. That's how that happened. You know what I mean? But I think he's going to get the heavyweight title, and then he's going to fall back down while he has the heavyweight title because he'll be able to make that weight cut, and then he's going to just come back, get the light heavyweight title, which probably Reyes will have it. There's no one else coming up really that I can see beating Reyes. Reyes is just as good as Jones. Not just as good, but he's getting close. So if Thiago and Dominic Reyes fights, it's going to be Dominic taking that title. But Jon Jones, let's see. Let's look at this. Like I said, we're not getting into tweets. There's been a whole bunch of trash talking on Twitter. Jones has been tweeting. Reyes has been tweeting. Like Ngannou has been tweeting. Like it's so much going on. So first off, Stipe, heavyweight champion. Francis Ngannou, number 1 contender. Curtis Blades, second. DC's at 3, which he's going to be taken out here soon because DC is retiring, unfortunately. They put him down to 3. I mean, they should have never put him down. They should have just maybe taken him off, but I don't know. He's not going to fight again. That was it for DC, but we'll get into that in a minute. But yeah, interesting fights that could happen. You got Stipe, like I said, the champion. Francis Ngannou versus Curtis Blades is what people are thinking, which I don't really want that at all. Francis Ngannou should just get a rematch against Stipe, unless, since Francis Ngannou has already lost to Stipe once, Curtis Blades is going to be pissed. They might bring Jones in. I don't know where they'll put him at. I wouldn't be surprised if they took Daniel Cormier out of 3 and put Jones right there. And if they make him fight Rosenstruck, go for it. But that would suck. That'd be stupid. I think 2 options. Francis Ngannou fights Stipe for the belt here soon. In maybe 6 months. Who knows? And then that's that. And then DC fights Rosenstruck. Or not DC. Jones fights Rosenstruck or Curtis Blades. And then the winner of that would fight the winner of that heavyweight championship in a year or so. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think what's going to happen is Jon Jones is going to get thrown in at 3rd, right? And they're automatically going to give him a title shot, maybe against Stipe. If Stipe doesn't retire, this is all if Stipe doesn't retire, which I don't think he is. But I also don't think he wants to fight Ngannou again, and I know for sure he doesn't want to fight Jones. He's not scared of him, but he knows. I mean, why wouldn't he go out on top? He just won one of the best trilogies of all time. Like, just come on, man, you got this. Just let it go. You're good, but all for him if he wants to keep fighting. But I think Jon Jones is gonna sneak up there, and Jon Jones can pretty much almost beat everybody in this heavyweight division. Like he's just dangerous, especially with him with the weight that he'll be adding on. Come on, man, it's gonna be nasty. On to some new fights that got announced. Darren Thiel versus Jack Hermansen, December 5th. Now this is depending on or it's pending on his medical clearance on Darren Thiel's knee, which they're saying looks fine, and it's coming back, and he'll be perfectly fine for December 5th. But that would be awesome because they announced that December 5th, and then Saturday, December 12th, Nunes versus Anderson for the 145-pound title. I'm pumped for that fight. This is, I don't even know how many title defenses this will be for Nunes at 145. I'm really not sure. I don't know. 1 second, let me look this up. Why isn't it showing? It won't show me the women's featherweight division for some reason. But, yeah, that's weird. But, yeah, 145 pounds. She's fighting Anderson. I'm really pumped for this. I'm really excited to see her back down at featherweight. She's a lot faster at featherweight. I mean, she's fast at bantamweight, too, but come on. She looks so good in all of her fights, and I expect the same for this. And I don't want to jinx anything, knock on wood, but when it comes to fighters, you get hyped for some fighters. You get excited to see some fighters fight. But Amanda, there's just something about Amanda. Like, you know she's going to excel. You know she's going to win pretty much. You know she's going to take over. You know that she's just a dominant fighter. There's none like her, really. There's no one else like her in her divisions. I mean, and I don't know, man. She's dominant, and she's exciting to watch, and she always gets to show, and she gets the job done. So I'm excited for December 12th. I'm excited for December 5th. Darren Thiel versus Jack Hermansen, and then following up the next week, Nunes versus Anderson. Exciting stuff, man. Really exciting stuff. All right, on the UFC 252 results. UFC 252 had 500,000 pay-per-view views worldwide. Fourth highest selling pay-per-view for the company in 2020. That's in 2020, not ever. That's just in 2020. That's pretty impressive. I mean, I expected a little bit more, but that just puts UFC 252 at number 4 for the year behind UFC 246, which was the return of Conor McGregor against Donald Cerrone. But, I mean, that fight, everyone was just watching because it was Conor. It was 40 seconds. Come on. Wasn't even that entertaining. And then behind that one was UFC 249, which was the first card back after the coronavirus, which was expected. And then before that was UFC 251, which was the biggest pay-per-view on for them of 2020. But very interesting stuff. I thought it would get a little bit more, but, who cares? But the fight between Stipe and DC in 2018, I think reportedly sold around 380,000 buys. And there was no accurate reporting for the rematch of 2019. I don't know what happened there. But it's not that bad, man. 500,000? I could expect, they could at least got, I don't know. I just thought it was going to be a little bit more, but fourth highest this year of 2020. Also, the UFC 252 prelims. This is where it's very interesting. The UFC 252 prelims ended the night at number 1 on cable because, the prelims are on ESPN. They had 831,000 viewers over a 3-hour broadcast. That's great numbers, especially for prelims. That just shows people are getting more interested in these no-name fighters and these people that are just hungry and they're ready to fight and they want people to know their name and they're coming out there and they're showing it. Some of these prelim fights could be main card fights. I mean, if not for who they were, if they were just a little bit more recognizable and could sell more tickets, but some of those fights were insane. I mean, come on. You got to give it up to those unranked fighters, man. Those are some of the real entertainment factors of the night when the main card doesn't really hold up to your standards. You know what I mean? But before I move on, I do want to go throw this on the screen. Pound for Pound has some new merch out. Go check it out. The link's in the description. 0% profits going to be made from these. I turned all the markdown to 0%. I just want people to be able to have t-shirts and stuff. You know what I mean? So if you want to, go ahead and go check it out. Link in the description. We got stickers, t-shirts, everything like that. So, go check it out, guys. I'll leave that up here for a second. I'll just have it come back on here and there. But like I said, link in the description, Pound for Pound merch. Go check it out. Thanks, guys. But okay. On to some interesting news with Sean O'Malley. Sean O'Malley had a lot to say after he broke his silence. Very interesting. Sean O'Malley gives no credit to Marlon Vera. He said, I lost to someone who I look at as not very good. Those are his words. I lost to someone who I look at that is not very good. O'Malley doesn't feel that this is a setback. I don't think. I know it's eating away at him, but I know he still thinks in his head he's one of the best, and he is. Without that injury, that re-injuring of his foot, we don't know what could have happened. But let me continue. Cheeto capitalized and got that top position, and he landed some big shots. He landed that big elbow. Sean's eyes kind of rolled up. He wasn't fully out, but I think Herb knew that Sean's foot was already messed up, so there's no way he could have got leverage off of him to get out of that situation in the first place. He could barely, hobble around the ring. He was tripping here and there, you know what I mean? He still looked good. I mean, he was landing some punches with his broken foot. But Herb had to stop the fight after that elbow to the head. Sean, upset, he did get taken out on a stretcher, and we'll get into that later or in a second. But let me slow down. Let me read what he said. He said he walked out, everything felt good, got in there. I was in front of him, and I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, this is easy. He's slow. He can't hit me. You can't hit me, and you can't take me down. I didn't think he was going to be able to take me down because he was so slow. These are his words, by the way. And then he said, God, just standing there knowing I had one leg and like, damn, he still sucks. I mean, I can imagine that. Like, Sean could have taken him out with full power. He didn't have power in his punches because he couldn't plant his foot. You know what I mean? He got to plant that back foot, but he couldn't. It was broke. I mean, there's nothing he can do. I mean, he was tripping just walking around the ring. He also said, we picked a date, we picked a time, and we both walked out. It doesn't matter what the F happens. O'Malley said, whoever wins, how it happens, however they win, he wins. He won. He's the better man. It sucks for me because I lost to someone who I look at is not very good. I look at him and I'm like, he's not that good. And I effing lost to him. That's what the most frustrating thing is. Losing to someone I'm better than. That humble post... That humble post was an effing joke. So for everyone commenting stupid, I don't need to say that. I'm not humble. I'm upset and mad. He also said, let's look at his career in 5 years and let's look at mine. I'm going to be the effing world champ and he's going to be the effing journeyman. That's just what that's just what his style is. Sorry. He wins some, he loses some. He's slow, but he's gritty. So he's going to be able to finish some people after they beat him up for a while. He gets lucky and beats me and jumps up like he won the effing lottery. That just shows what kind of effing experience he has. I mean, you can't make this stuff up, man. I mean, I kind of agree with him, man, but it's just like, O'Malley also said he hasn't received medical clearance in the aftermath of the UFC 252. He's visiting another doctor for an MRI this week. Then said he hopes to get this taste out of his mouth. I mean, come on, man. Come on. Okay. Last thing he said literally the only thing that bugs me is I lost the way sorry, let me just start over. Because his grammar was all messed up. What he was trying to say is literally the only thing that bugs me is that I lost in a way where I felt like I didn't lose. That's what he was trying to say. And I lost to a guy I feel like is not that good. I had the same pain, but all around my ankle, and I remember dragging my foot against the cage. Even still, didn't feel the damage. I'm like, okay, I'm not very mobile, but I don't feel in danger. I don't feel like he's a threat. I was hoping he would shoot in on me, and I could try to guillotine him. I cracked him with a good shot. Then at the last little fury I had, God, his grammar is really bad. I don't think he punched me once on my feet, even after my foot was effing messed up. Other than the bad grammar, I understand what he's saying. If he could have got a guillotine on him after he landed a couple of those punches that Fury had, which before his leg again gave out because it just kept buckling and kind of tripping, that would have been awesome. That would have been so impressive. But Ben Askren also chimed in. Oh, Ben, always trying to get into media. Ben Askren, let you guys know who doesn't know who Ben Askren is. He's the guy that got kneed in 5 seconds by Jorge Masvidal. But Ben Askren tells Sean, grow up after getting his ass kicked. Like, what? Sean replied, I thought Ben Askren was smart. I didn't know he was slow. You have an opportunity, and you F your foot up. I had the opportunity. Your foot, God, his grammar is so bad. Your foot is effed up, and you want to walk here to there. Here, we'll push you on a little thing with wheels so you don't have to walk on your... Okay, I don't want to read this. His grammar is just really off. I mean, he's probably on some pain pills or something when he was writing this stuff or whatever, but basically he called out Ben saying, what are you saying? Like, I couldn't walk out. They asked me, did I want to be put on a stretcher to stop permanently damaging my foot so I don't have to walk a quarter of a mile back to the locker room? You know what I mean? Like, of course he's going to get on the stretcher. It's not, that's the smart thing to do. It'd be stupid if he tried to make it look good and like, you know, like walk out. Like, why would you try to look good just to accidentally damage your foot even more? Take the stretcher. Ben, shut up. You're done. You got kneed by Jorge. You're done. You're just salty. You got taken out on the stretcher. Shut up. That's all I got to say about that. Sean, he's going to come back. He's going to look great as ever. Ben, just keep doing your podcast stuff. That's all I got to say. I would love to see a rematch between Sean and Vera. I think maybe Vera be hesitant for that. But I think Sean wants it again, and I hope they give it to him. I hope we see him soon. I hope he does fight again in 2020. But yeah, it's all good. All right, moving on to the fights tonight. The welterweights. Here we go. Daniel Rodriguez versus Dwight Grant. Now, I'm pretty excited about these fights. I think we'll get some action tonight. You know what I mean? We got Dwight Grant at 10-2, Daniel Rodriguez 12-1. Daniel Rodriguez was originally scheduled to fight. I'm gonna botch this name. Takashi, not Takashi 6ix9ine, Jesus Christ, but Takashi Sato. But Sato was pulled from the fight by the Nevada State Athletic Commission for reasons that haven't been disclosed yet. Grant was booked for Kalen Bourne, who's never even made the weigh-in. It was scratched. Couldn't even do it. Rodriguez is 12-1 as an MMA fighter, and he's 2-0 in the UFC. So he's undefeated in the UFC. Let's see what he can do. He also has a win in Dana White's Contender Series, that was a good fight. I can't remember who it was for. I don't think the guy he foughts in the UFC or even in the Contender Series anymore. But in 23 minutes and 37 seconds of fight time in the UFC, he's averaged a whopping 8.6 significant strikes per minute and 1.94 takedowns per 15 minutes, and a total of 83% accuracy. That's nasty. 83% accurate? Lord have mercy. The 33-year-old from California, he's won 8 in a row, 6 of them via stoppage. His last outing was a decision win on May 30th over Gabriel Green. That was also at the UFC Apex Arena. And that was UFC Fight Night, the Windley fight versus Gilbert Burns, which we all know happened that night. R.I.P. Woodley for the title ever again. That's all I'll say. And I know that upsets one of my friends, and if he's listening, he knows who that is. But Dwight Grant enters with a 10-2 mark and a 2-1 record in the UFC. Pretty impressive. I mean, it'd be better if he was 3-0 in the UFC, but 2-1's not too bad. He won his way via contract at Dana White's Contender Series, and that was June of 2018. So for a little over a year and a half, he's had 3 fights. I mean, that's not that bad. That's a fight every 6 months, but you expect more from some of these younger guys. I think he's young. How old is he? He's 35, actually, so I'll take that back. I didn't know he was 35. I'll take that back. 3 fights in a year and a half. That's not too bad. He earned a performance of the night bonus for his first-round knockout of Carlo Pedro Jr., and that was February 2019. I remember that. That was a nice little knockout. The 35-year-old hasn't fought since his split decision win of April 2019 over Alan Jouban. So that's where he hasn't fought since last April, man. That's a long time. That's a really long time not to be fighting, especially in the UFC. So I hope everything works out for both of them. I hope it works out. I'll give you my pick on that here soon. But interesting fight. It's going to come down to stopping Daniel Rodriguez, his accuracy. And if Dwight Grant can do that, let's see what happens. Well, I'm excited about that fight. That's the first fight of the night, by the way. Next fight is the women's flyweight. The biggest favorite, according to the bookmakers, since UFC returned from COVID-19, will be expected to end things early as women flyweight Maria Agapova, let's say that one more time, Maria Agapova, takes on Shane Dobson. I'm excited, but this is insane, everybody. Okay, let me put this in. I'm just gonna say the number. Maria is a minus 910 against Shayna Dobson at plus 580. Lord have mercy. Minus 910 against plus 580. Jesus. But Agapova, she's 9-1 in the MMA. She had a huge upset win over Hannah Cyphers in the UFC debut on June 13th in just 162 seconds. So impressive. So impressive. At 5'6", she's 23-year-old from Kazakhstan. She has 7 wins. She has 7 finishes, in her 9 wins. And the only blemish on her record is this unanimous decision loss to Tracy Cortez at Dana White's Contender Series. You know what I mean? And that wasn't even in the UFC. She's doing great. She's doing insane, man. Her submissions of Cypher was a rear naked choke. But she gets what she considered a much easier opponent here. How disrespectful is that? If I'm Shayna Dobson, I'm pissed. Well, first of all, why are you making someone that's 9-1 fight someone that's 3-4? That's just disrespectful. I hope Shayna Dobson comes out here and proves people wrong. And I hope anybody that bets for Shayna Dobson takes that money and runs with it. But Shayna Dobson, she's 3-4 in the MMA. She won the Ultimate Fighter 26 finale in December of 2017 via knockout for the only stoppage of her career. Her only stoppage of her career was the finale of Ultimate Fighter 26 in 2017. She's winless since the promotion, or since she's been in the UFC. You know what I mean? She's 0-3. She's not, you know what I mean? But the 31-year-old, she's from Arlington, Texas. She's been outstruck in her last 2 fights, 116-38. Like, come on. What are you doing? And in her last bout, she was knocked out in 42nd by Priscilla. You know what I mean? That was February 23rd. Like, come on, man. That was Priscilla Cochiera. You know what I mean? 40 seconds. So I understand why the betting odds are like this. I don't understand why this is a fight. I don't know what the matchmakers are doing. I don't know if they're trying to push Maria Agapova as one of the next greats in the flyweight division so they can bring her up to fight Amanda or so she can rank up and fight Amanda. I don't know what they're trying to do here. I don't like it. I think it's unfair. 9-1 against 3-4 should never happen. No one that's 9-1 should be fighting someone with a losing record like that of 3-4. Come on, that's just disrespectful. But we'll move on for that. We'll come back with the pick later. Up next, this light heavyweight battle. I'm really pumped about this one. Marcin Prechino, he's plus 185 against Mike Rodriguez at minus 240. Now that the light heavyweight title is vacated, I think these two fighters are looking to stay on the roster to get in the conversation for that 205-pound title. I think it's going to be a well-fought battle. I think they're both going to go at it. But it's a pretty weak fight for the main card, I think. I don't think it should be on the main card. I really don't. They could have probably bought up that Amanda Limos fight. That would have been a great fight to see. You got Amanda at 7-1 and Mizuki at 14-5 in the prelims, the prelim main event. Shoot, you could have brought up Austin Hubbard against Joe Solki. I can't pronounce his name. That's the one name I cannot understand. It's Solecki. But yeah, that Amanda fight and Mizuki fight would have been dope to bring up instead of this light heavyweight fight. But we're not going to complain. You got Marcin. He's 13-4, but he's 0-2 in the UFC. He's been stopped in the first round twice by Sam Alvey and Magdog Akalevi. I can't pronounce this guy's name. But the 32-year-old from Warsaw, Poland, he hasn't fought since September of 2018. And he likely needs this win to stay a part of the UFC. I'm going to be honest with you. He has to take this dub to be a part of the UFC still. There's no getting around that. We'll see. We'll see if he does lose, if they want to keep him in. But they have plenty of light heavyweight fighters right now. You know what I mean? But he's only landed a total of 18 strikes with 0 takedowns in his 7 minutes and 32 seconds of a UFC octagon time. 18 strikes and 0 takedowns in his whole UFC existence. So, not looking too great for him. He's coming off 2 losses also. Before that, he did have 3 wins in a row, but that was not in the UFC. That was in one championship. The fight company won championship, not one championship, but one championship. Mike Rodriguez, he's looking really good in this fight. He's 10-4-1 with 1-2-1 mark in the UFC. He's looking a lot better to Marcin, though. The no contest was a loss to John Allen, overturned by the Nevada State Athletic Commission for a doping violation. In his last outing in Korea in December, he was stopped in 64 seconds by Dong Un-jung. He has landed 4.3 significant strikes per minute in UFC, and he's yet to attempt a takedown. And all 10 of his career wins are finishes, with 8 KOs and 2 submissions. Like, what? Come on. I mean, that's not too bad, you know what I mean? But that's not in, that wasn't in the UFC, you know what I mean? That was before. The UFC is a whole different ball game, and people are coming to find it out. And both these light heavyweight fighters have found that out. I mean, and you're looking at Owen, what was it? He's 0-2 in the UFC. Marcin and Rodriguez is 1-2-1 in the UFC. So, not their best fight so far, but that's why I don't think this should be on the main card, man. It's so disrespectful. Like, I mean, yeah, I don't want to get into it. They're doing. Hopefully, it's a good fight. Hopefully, it works out. But the thing is, right after that is another light heavyweight fight. But this one looks promising. This is the classic gatekeeper versus prospect in this matchup. Ovince St. Preux, OSP, versus Alonso Menifield. You know what I mean? You got OSP at plus 105 and Alonso Menifield at negative 130. You know what I mean? So, not too bad of a fight. It's kind of close. You know what I mean? It's going to be a really good fight. This is the good light heavyweight fight. So, if the other one doesn't go that well against Marcin and Rodriguez, we got OSP versus Alonso. OSP, Vince St. Preux, he's an exciting fighter, and he's earned a performance bonus, in his last 3 UFC victories. So he's pretty much, if you don't know what that means, he's got a $50,000 bonus every time in his last 3 victories. Because it's that performance bonus, man. People thrive for it. Stipe Amikovic has so many. But he's 24-14 in his career with the UFC mark of 12-9, and he's got 11 KOs and 8 submissions in his career. And he fought Jon Jones for the belt in 2016. He's got some experience, man. Anybody that fight Jon Jones, you got to respect them. No matter what happens, you got to respect that they stepped in the octagon against Jon Jones. You really do. You got to respect that. He lands just 2.6 significant strikes per minute, and he's got 1.27 takedowns per fight. So not the best numbers, but as long as he's landing those hits and they're powerful, he's good. He's straight. When he does land or get you on the mat, it's often with power and fury. And his last outing was a split decision loss against Ben Rothwell in Jacksonville during the UFC's return to action post COVID-19. And that was May 13th. So not too long ago. He's still a little fresh. Probably had a good training camp. I'm not sure. I assume so. But you got Alonso Menifield 9-1, and he's 2-1 in the UFC. So not the best numbers. He's still an up-and-comer, though he just lost his last bout against Devin Clark via unanimous decision on, what was that? I think that was June 6th. I'll have to look it up later. Yeah, June 6th, I think. And that was the first defeat of his career. It was the first fight of his career to reach a third round, and he showed some conditioning issues during the contest, and it kind of just went downhill from there. But on the bright side, all 9 of his wins for him at 32 years of age, being from Dallas, Texas, are via stoppage. You know what I mean? 8 of them by knockout. And I think I can't remember the other one is. Must have been a submission. But after dominating his first 2 UFC fights, he dominated those opponents, and I think they were first round knockouts. Yeah, let me look it up. Yeah, it's right here. Yeah, those are all first round knockouts. Clark landed more significant strikes, 79-39, and had a takedown that put Menifield on the canvas for the first time in the promotion. So Clark, I can't think that was Daniel Clark. I can't remember who that was. I think that was Clark. I'm not sure. But yeah, Menifield, he basically got manhandled. So we'll see. But he was on a roll before that. He had all those wins. This is his first loss. So we'll see what happens. Very interesting fight at the co-main. Ovince St. Preux versus Alonso Manyfield. But everyone knows the fight that we're waiting to see tonight. Let's just get to it. Pedro Munoz versus Frankie Edgar. Yes, Frankie Edgar is fighting tonight. Pedro being the favorite at -250 with Frankie at +200. But never doubt your boy Frankie. That's all I'm going to say. Never doubt Frankie. Frankie's a legend. He is a legend. He can take you to the ground. He can hit like a truck. Frankie is a legend, and don't disrespect his name. Pedro is a very, 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 very good fighter. So is Frankie Edgar. Let's start with Pedro. He's ranked number 5, a.k.a. nicknamed the Young Punisher. 18-4-1 in his career with the UFC mark of 8-4-1. He's a very active fighter in the octagon, averaging 5.29 significant strikes per minute while absorbing 6.17 strikes as well. So not too bad. Interesting numbers. But he has 13 career stoppages, 5 KOs, and 8 submissions, and he's never been finished. So that's pretty impressive. Sorry, saw something. Sao Paulo, Brazil is where he's a native from. He had won 3 in a row before falling to Aljamain Sterling in June of last year. I remember watching that fight, man. That was a good fight. But Aljamain Sterling was a lot better in that fight and deserved that unanimous decision. But that was a good fight. That was Sujudo versus Munhoz, UFC 238. I'm pretty sure. Oh, that was interesting. I just got a UFC update. I don't want to contaminate stuff and get in the way of it. But yeah, last fight, Pedro lost. Or last fight, it was Aljamain Sterling before he won 3 in a row. But Aljamain Sterling is no joke, man. That boy can fight. Interesting. He's ranked number 5. Pedro is. We'll see what the Young Punisher can do. Frankie Edgar, though, ranked number 8. 23, 8-1 in his MMA career. Pretty sure that's all with the UFC. I could be wrong. I could take that back maybe. He's a former UFC lightweight champion from 2010 to 2012, and he's held the belt at 155. Come on, man. Since he lost, it has been competing at 145 and dropped to 135 for the first time here. Come on. He's going to be so much faster at 135, I think. I'm really excited to see that. But he went from 145 to 135. It's his first fight here at bantamweight. I'm super pumped to see this. He's never fought at this weight, and he entered automatically at number 8 in the division. So let's see him just work his way through this. I'm excited to see him here in the bantamweight. You know, we got Cody here. Cody Garbrandt's here. You got so many people here in the bantamweight. It's a stacked division, to be honest with you. The bantamweight with Petri Yan at the champion, Marlon at the number 1 contender. Then you got Aljamain Sterling at number 2, Cody Garbrandt at number 3, Corey Sandhagen at 4, Pedro Munoz at 5. You know what I mean? So Edgar, he's about to fight Pedro. If he beats Pedro, he's automatically going to be number 5. He's going to be sitting pretty above Jose Aldo and Jimmy Rivera. So that's going to be awesome. But let me continue. Let me get back to Frankie here. He's only lost 2 fights in 2019. A unanimous decision. He's only lost 2 fights since the last time he's fought, which was 2019. A unanimous decision loss to Max Holloway for the featherweight title, which was an amazing fight. You can't really, you know what I mean? And then a first round KO by Chan Sung Jung, also at featherweight. So it didn't look the best. The Max Holloway fight, that was a unanimous decision, 5 rounds. But that Sung Jung fight, that was a KO in the first round at 3 minutes and 18 seconds. So his last fight, he didn't look the best. I understand why the odds are like this. No disrespect to Frankie Edgar. I know they're not trying to. I was just joking. But it's Frankie Edgar, man. He's a legend. So many people know who he is. Even if you're not sure what the UFC is or that into it, you know who Frankie Edgar is. You know. All right. that's pretty much all that for the fighters. I don't have visuals today for my picks. My Photoshop files and Illustrator files for the picks today got corrupted somehow. I didn't have time to make them. So I focused still on the content of the stream and the podcast instead of the visuals. So I'm sorry about it for this week. But let's go ahead and get into the picks. First fight that made a card, as we talked about, Daniel Rodriguez versus Dwight Grant. Very interesting fight. I honestly would rather see this fight at the third or the Coco main event instead of that Marcin fight. You know what I mean? But I'm not gonna get too picky about it. But Daniel Rodriguez, I gotta take Daniel Rodriguez. You know what I mean? He's 12-1 as an MMA fighter and 2-0 in UFC. I think he's gonna keep trying to push this undefeated streak in the UFC, and I think he's gonna come out. Dwight Grant just doesn't look like a capable opponent towards him, so we'll see. But I'm gonna take Daniel Rodriguez on that one. But interesting fight, you know what I mean? It's not gonna be that bad of a fight. It's gonna be kind of interesting, I think. But yeah, we'll see. Next up, the women's flyweight, Maria Agapova versus Shana Dobson. Really, 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 really interesting and dumb fight. I'm excited because Maria Agapova is going to knock her out. I have her winning. She's minus 910 against plus 580. Like, it's obvious. Shana Dobson's 3-4. Agapova's 9-1. She's a dominant fighter. She's going to work her way up in the rankings. So that's just a simple but I don't know. We'll see. And sorry, I was wrong about Maria Agapova. I didn't mean Amanda to get her to fight Amanda. I meant Valentina Shevchenko. That's my apologies. I just looked at the picture and had a brain relapse. But I meant I think they want to keep trying to push her and give her these easy fights so she can get up there and fight Shevchenko for the women's flyweight championship. I mean, because to be honest with you guys, Shevchenko really doesn't have that big of competition. I mean, in my eye, Jessica I is one of my favorites in that division, and she's ranked 5th. So we'll see what happens there. I mean, we know what's gonna happen. Let's not fool ourselves. Maria Agapova, that's almost a definite win. So that's just for pure entertainment at that point. But if you do bet on Shana Dobson, get that money if she wins, which is very unlikely, but get that money. That third fight at light heavyweight, man, I don't even want to pick someone for this fight, but I'll take Mike Rodriguez. You know what I mean? I hope it's a good fight. I hope it does go a little bit of time. I hope we do get some good action out of it. You know what I mean? I mean, we do have two not great fighters right now that are going to be fighting. One hasn't even won in the UFC, being Mike Rodriguez, or not Mike Rodriguez, the other guy, Marcin. But we'll see. I think they know what they're doing, but we'll see how it plays out. It is a fight night tonight, so we'll see. I don't want to keep talking down on that fight because who knows? That could be the fight of the night. One of them could get the performance bonus. So you never know in the UFC. You really never know. But for the co-main event at light heavyweight, this one's hard for me because I do want to take the over with OSP. You know what I mean? Ovince Peru, but I don't think I can. Alonso Menifield, he's so talented and he's very gifted. And what is his reach? Yeah, he has a slight reach disadvantage, but I think what's going to happen is I think he's going to be able to get up in that pocket with OSP, and he's going to be able to just do work on him, and he's going to land those strikes. So we'll see. We will see. But yeah, I'm going to take Alonso Menifield for that one. I'm pretty happy with that one. You know what I mean? I'm pretty happy with that. Yeah, Alonso Menifield for that co-main event at light heavyweight. I was going to pick OSP, but I think Alonso is going to do work. And all right, the main event of the evening,
Tommy, this is the moment UFC fans around the world have been waiting for. It's time!
Scares me every time. But, all right, the main event in the evening, Frankie Edgar versus Pedro Munoz. Really pumped about this fight. Surprisingly, I'm taking Frankie Edgar. I don't know if this is because I love Frankie. I think he's a great fighter, but I think he's going to do good work here at bantamweight. I think it's going to be great. I think he's going to beat the young Punisher and Pedro Munoz. I think Frankie's here to stay at bantamweight. And I think he's going to do good work. I think he's going to do good, man. I think he's going to do real good. I think he's going to work his way up through the division. He's starting at 8. So that's not too bad. I mean, some people that change divisions don't even get ranked sometimes, you know what I mean? So he's automatically getting put at ranked 8, so I'm not going to be upset. Sorry. But, yeah, Frankie Edgar. I think he's going to win tonight. I really do. I think he's going to upset Pedro Munoz, and he's going to go be ranked at 5 or 6. I mean, that's not upsetting, you know what I mean? You just came in a bantamweight, you're ranked 8, and you win a fight and go up to 6. So, not too bad, man. Not too shabby. The fights tonight are on ESPN Plus. No, they're actually just on ESPN. I forgot. So, super pumped about that. You ain't got to pay nothing. I mean, as long as you have cable and stuff. But they're on ESPN tonight. Prelims start at 6 p.m. on ESPN Plus. My apologies. Prelims are on ESPN Plus, 6 p.m. And the main card is on ESPN at 8:30. Again, Frankie Edgar versus Pedro Munoz. I got Frankie Edgar on the main card. Alonso Minifield on the co-main. I have Mike Rodriguez. And then Maria Agapova. And then I took Daniel Rodriguez. So, interesting fights tonight. Again, we got some new pound-for-pound merch. Link in the description. Like I said, I'm not making any profit off it. I lowered all the prices to 0% markup. I don't want any of the money. I just want to get some of these t-shirts out there if you guys want them. Some stickers, some phone cases, some bags. There's something there for everyone. Pillows, face masks, you know what I mean? So do what you guys want. Check it out. But if you guys are watching the fights tonight, enjoy the fights. And this has been Pound for Pound, the MMA podcast, and I'm your host, Jalen Walker. Peace, guys.